You ever get that feeling that the world is just speeding up? I mean, new tech, new jobs, new everything. It feels like we're in a constant state of warp speed. But here's a crazy thought. What if that's not just a feeling? What if we could actually, measure the speed of history itself? Well, let's find out.
So check out this timeline of the big industrial revolutions. The first one, steam power and all that, kicks off way back in 1765. Then it takes more than a century, 100 years, to get to the second one, with electricity. Okay, then a little less than a century later, boom, we've got the computer age. But then look at this. After that, it's only 31 years until we hit the internet age. You can literally see it on the screen. The gaps are shrinking. The pace is definitely picking up.
So, right, this brings us to a really cool question. We can feel it, we can see it on a timeline, but can we actually put a number on it? Is it possible to build, a speedometer for history? I know, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but believe it or not, a researcher set out to do just that.
So here's what we're going to do. We'll start by looking at how you'd even build a speedometer for revolutions. Then we'll put it to the test on the past. After that, we'll use it to peek into the future, all the way to a predicted 7th Industrial Revolution. And finally, we'll wrap up by asking the big one. What does all this mean for us right now?
Okay, let's get into it. A speedometer for revolutions. How in the world do you quantify something as massive as a societal transformation? Well, it turns out there's a new academic tool designed to do exactly that.
Okay, it's called, and get ready for this, the Industrial Revolution Integral Development Speed Index. Yeah, let's just call it the IRIDS-Index. Way easier, right? But think of it as our societal speedometer. The whole point isn't just to track shiny new tech, but to measure how fast and how deeply a revolution really changes everything.
So how does this thing work? Well, it breaks down change into 4 key areas. First, you've got the economic development speed. That's EADS. Then there's social development speed, or SIDS. You also have to look at political adaptation, PIDS. And of course, the big one, technological development, or TIDS. You mash all 4 of those together, and that's how you get a real, holistic picture of a revolution's true speed.
All right, so we've got the theory. But does this speedometer actually work? That's the million-dollar question, right? To figure it out, the researcher took it for a spin, applying it to all the past industrial revolutions, using historical data to get a speed score for each one. And here we go. These are the results. Just look at this table. You can see the scores for each revolution broken down by economic, social, political, and technological speed, those 4 factors we just talked about. But here's what you really need to see, that last column, the final IRIDS index score. For the first revolution, it's 0.31, the second, 0.35, third, 0.42, and the fourth, 0.50. You see that right? The number just keeps climbing. It's proof. History is actually verifiably getting faster.
This bar chart makes it even clearer. I mean, wow. It plots the final score for the first, the fourth, and then the predicted 7th Industrial Revolution. That curve going up? It's dramatic. This is the visual proof right here. The engine of history isn't just humming along, it's flooring it.
But digging into the data reveals something else. And this is absolutely critical. In every single revolution, the scores for economic and tech change are way higher than the scores for social and political change. So what does that mean? It means our gadgets and our economy are in the fast lane, while our laws, our schools, our entire social fabric is struggling to keep up. There's a gap, a big one, and it's getting wider.
Okay, so the index works on the past. Now we can do something really fun. Use it as a forecasting tool. The research actually projects forward to predict what the next industrial revolutions might look like.
So, the predictions point to a 5th industrial revolution hitting around 2030, and it's all going to be about advanced AI and sustainability. But get this, just 20 years later, around 2050, we're supposedly hitting a 6th revolution. And this one is defined by seriously advanced semi-autonomous robots, where humans are way less involved in actually making stuff. Each step is just faster and more game-changing than the last.
But even those are just the warm-up act. The research uses all this data to paint a picture of the 7th Industrial Revolution. And honestly, it's a mind-bending, almost unimaginable shift. And the date for this massive paradigm shift? 2070. I mean, think about that. That is less than 50 years away. That's well within the lifetime for a lot of us. And the core of it all is something the paper calls natural, organic, artificial intelligence systems. Now, this is not just a smarter Alexa. We're talking about a complex, self-improving, interconnected web of sensors, neural nets, and mega-computers that could totally redefine what intelligence even is.
And the predicted impacts are just staggering. We're talking humanoid robots pretty much replacing most manual labor, new self-sustaining energy systems that could give us almost limitless clean power. The very nature of what it means to be human could change, physically and psychologically. In the job market, it would completely flip to focus on stuff only humans can do: creativity, imagination, social skills.
Now, I know this all sounds like crazy future talk, but the research brings it right back down to earth. What does all this accelerating change mean for our jobs, for our lives, today and tomorrow?
So, what's the big takeaway here for us? Well, the paper confirms this clear, repeating pattern. That gap we talked about between fast tech and slow society, that's where all the friction is. Every revolution is predicted to start with a spike in unemployment as old jobs just disappear. Now sure, new and better jobs are eventually created, but there's always that painful transition. And that transition period tends to benefit younger, more adaptable workers first. So the real challenge for all of us is figuring out how to manage that gap.
And that leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? We've basically built a speedometer for history, and the needle is pinned. We are accelerating into a future with incredible technological promise. But that same speedometer shows our social and political systems are constantly lagging behind, trying to catch up. So the real question isn't about the tech, it's about us. Can we, as a society, learn to adapt at the new speed of history?